Echo! 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 What's that got to do with anything? Let's think about it. Hey, my name's Justin Harrell. I challenge you to challenge yourself to think about less taught biblical topics. We live in a battlefield. War is all around us. But for the most part, mankind is unaware simply because this is all we've ever known. We've come to accept life as it is. We get so distracted by our short lives on this planet that we fail to see the big picture. We say things that actually sound stupid when we stop to think about them. Ever heard this? Death is a part of life. I understand the sentiment that is attempted here, but death is not a part of life. Death is the antithesis of life. Death is the end of life. Death is our enemy. Jesus came to conquer sin and death, and he did just that. By placing our trust in him, we too can have everlasting life. God promises that by trusting in the work Jesus did on the cross, we will be resurrected one day and never experience death again. Something this good should be all over the news. It should be talked about everywhere. Everyone should understand. But this is not the case. Why not? Because we live in a battlefield.
Action station.
We are at war. The problems we deal with are not new. All this has happened before, and all this will happen again. We live in a world that is still experiencing echoes of the past. In my earlier videos about weirder things, we saw how rebellion in the divine realm affected our earthly realm. Lesser Elohim, divine beings, came to our planet and mingled with our gene pool. These beings and their progeny were worshipped as gods. Even after death, these unclean spirits were venerated and worshipped, giving rise to pagan religions and sacrifice to demonic powers. This had a permanent effect on our way of life. As you'll come to find out in the next couple of videos, almost everything on Earth has been tainted with this pagan imagery. One way we see this is how we mark the passage of time. For the most part, time is governed by astronomical phenomenon. Days are determined by the rotation of the Earth. Daytime when we see the sun, nighttime when we don't. Months, although not really in Western cultures, are governed by the phases of the moon. Years are based on the revolution of the earth around the sun. But what about the week? Why is it 7 days? There's no astronomical basis for this. You know, people are always looking for evidence of God, and it's staring them right in the face every day of the week. The week was instituted by God in creation. You can read this in Genesis chapters 1 and 2. He took 6 days to create and 1 to rest. This pattern was set up by God himself, and we've been following it ever since. But the week is no longer holy. We've named the days of the week: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. How did God name them? Well, he numbered them. Day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. You might be thinking, so what? We named them. But look at the names we've picked. Sunday is named after the sun. Monday is named after the moon. Tuesday is named after Mars. Wednesday is named after Mercury. Thursday is named after Jupiter. Friday is named after Venus. And Saturday is named after Saturn. So they're named after astronomical bodies, but even those are named after other false gods man has worshipped. For example, Thursday means Thor's Day in Old Norse, named after the god of thunder wielding his iconic hammer.
By Grabthar's hammer, by the sons of Warvan, you shall be avenged.
No, that's a different movie. We'll come back to more astronomical stuff next time. God was concerned with this kind of stuff, and he warned his nation Israel to have no part in this type of worship. Deuteronomy 4:19 says, "And take heed, lest you lift your eyes to heaven, And when you see the sun, the moon, and the stars, all the host of heaven, you feel driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord your God has given to all peoples under the whole heaven as a heritage. Guess what? This pagan manipulation is in our calendar as well. The modern day calendar has gone through a bunch of changes to get to what it is today. It's no longer lunar based, and it's come down through the Roman calendar, which then became the Julian calendar, which then became the Gregorian calendar that we use today. Along the way, the months were renamed and the start of the year was moved. Originally, the start of the year was in autumn or fall. It's easy to remember in English because that's when we sinned. We call it the fall. But God moves the start of the year to the spring at the first Passover. In Exodus 12, the first 2 verses we read, "Now the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be your beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you." I have a whole video on this called A Secret Hidden in the Calendar. Click on the card or the link in the description. This is why the Jewish people still have 2 new years. A religious new year in the spring and a civil new year in the fall that we call Rosh Hashanah. But once again, God's numbering system was thrown out. We don't say month 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now for most of them we have names. Now our months are named January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December. The following are the common etymologies given to us by historians. January, named after Janus, protector of gates and doorways, the god of beginnings. February, named for Februalia, a festival of purification and atonement. Eventually, it became associated with Vesta, a hearth goddess. March, named after the Roman god of war, Mars, or Ares in the Greek. April, from a Latin word meaning to open or bud. A lot of pagan fertility can be connected to this. I'm looking at you, Mr. Easter Bunny. May, named after Maya, an earth goddess of growth. In Greek myth, she was the mother of Hermes and the daughter of Atlas and Pleione. She was the oldest of the 7 Pleiades born on a mountain. Do you see how this all sounds so familiar to the biblical narrative of fallen Elohim mingling with human women? June, named after the goddess Juno, patron of marriage and well-being of women. In Greek myth, she was Hera, queen of the gods, wife of Jupiter, and mother of Mars, the god of war. Very interesting. So June is a popular month to get married in, and most marriages result in giving birth to war.
Idiot.
July. Now this month was once named Quintilis, but changed to honor Julius Caesar. August. This was once Sextilia, but the Roman Emperor Augustus Caesar comes along and says, "Hey Julius, great idea, I'll take August." Now the remaining 4 months still retain their numbering. If you paid any attention in math class, you should be familiar with the numeric prefixes sept, oct, nov, and des. 7, 8, 9, and 10. And before July and August were changed, they were Quintilis and Sextilia. Quint and sext are 5 and 6. So you can see the original numbers were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now you might expect the year to end 9, 10, 11, and 12. But this is to show these numbers are a leftover of the year starting in the spring as God set up. March would be 1st, April 2nd, May 3rd, and so on. With December being the 10th month, with 2 more months remaining, and the year starting again in March. Wow, every time man changes something God has set up, man connects it to pagan practices, to pagan gods and goddesses. We take what was once holy and make it profane. It's something we should think about.